Tonight, Governor Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis will face off in a debate that symbolizes more than just the differences between the two states, but the differences that divide the entire nation. Here to discuss it in greater detail is California GOP Chair Jessica Patterson. Good morning to you, Jessica. How are you doing?
Good morning, Paul. Great to be with you guys.
Thanks for being up at this hour with us. That's even more appreciative. All right, so tell me if I got the parameters right, because I've been following with one ear and one ear only. It's going to be the two governors, Sean Hannity, the moderator, no audience. And after that, it's all no holds bar, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be exciting to watch. You know, I think that here in California, we've had this shiny tide salesman who's been trying to sell us a lemon, and let's not underestimate him. He is a very smooth talker. There is a reason why he was reelected, and it is not because of any of the metrics that most people live by. When you think about the difference and the contrast between Florida and California, you have very different stories being told, the greatest of which is the change in population. In 2022 alone, California lost 800,000 people. Meanwhile, in Florida, at the same time, they gained 450,000 people. Here in California, in the last reapportionment, we lost a congressional seat. Florida picked up a congressional seat. That's probably the greatest marker of how well you are doing your job.
You know, Jessica, you're the second person that has talked about what a smooth-talking governor Gavin Newsom is. For the life of me, I don't see that, but we'll continue on. I think this meme says it all. In my hand, and I was in anticipation of our conversation, I wanted to share this with you. Stop complaining about your life. There are people that literally are living in California, and how does the governor of our state spin it any other way when things are, by almost every metric, be it education, taxes, whatever it is, it's tough here in California. How do you spin that into a winning argument tonight?
Listen, Paul, he doesn't do it for me either. Whether we're talking about the median price of a home here in California, $817,000 versus $416,000 in Florida. When we're talking about gas prices, we're paying $1.60 more per gallon than Floridians are. When we're talking about our education, that also doesn't do it for me. We have less than 50% of our children reading at grade level. We are 50 out of 50 when it comes to literacy in this country. We're behind Mississippi. When we talk about math and science, only a third of our children are at grade level. But Gavin Newsom's going to use big words like fifth largest economy. Let me tell you something. The fifth largest economy doesn't mean much when less than 15% of your people can't afford to buy a home, when only 15% of the people in your state can afford to buy a home.
All right, so let's look at it from the other side of the fence. Ron DeSantis, is this kind of a Hail Mary for just to get on the board, to have some people take notice of his campaign? Because it seems like he has just moved in one direction, backwards.
I think this is a great opportunity for Governor DeSantis. I have long said that I don't believe that President Biden is going to be at the top of the ticket for Democrats come November. And I think right now, Gavin Newsom has been running a shadow presidential campaign, whether it was his red state tour, his international gallivanting, all meanwhile here in California, the very real problems, most of which he has created or championed, have gone unfixed. And so I think this is a great opportunity for Governor DeSantis. He can show a real contrast about what he has done and the type of leadership he has had in Florida and the failures of a blue state and this blue state governor like Gavin Newsom.
Then explain to me why the governor of Florida hasn't caught on with the rest of the country.
I think that, there's a wide open field right now. We've seen some movement in the poll with each one of these debates. And I think that for him, this is a great opportunity because Governor Newsom has called him out directly. And he's asked him for the debate. He hasn't asked anybody else. All
right. So then, are you assuming that Donald Trump will, even despite all these legal issues, will be the GOP representative in the coming election?
I think right now it's certainly President Trump's to lose. He's the front runner. He's been the front runner for a very long time. He's had a very wide margin. But I think that we need to remember that elections matter. And so when we start seeing the voting happening, I often joke about, Rudy Giuliani in 2008. He was the front runner until people started voting. What happens in Iowa matters. What happens in New Hampshire and South Carolina, Nevada, first in the West, these all matter. And once you get to California, we're actually a very early Super Tuesday state with the most delegates of any state in the nation with 169. So we could be a big decision maker here ourselves.
But just to follow up on that question, does that put DeSantis in an awkward position of having almost defend Trump? Because, you know, Newsom is going to, I would expect the governor of California to just not even make it a head-to-head with DeSantis. He's going to be attacking Donald Trump, I would think. And does that put DeSantis in an awkward spot to differentiate himself between Trump and at the same time defend Trump?
Well, I think that there's a lot of policies that overlap. When you look at both Governor DeSantis, Ambassador Haley, when you look at someone like President Trump, they have a lot of positions and policies that overlap. Style is a little bit different, but their policies, they're very, very similar on policy.
All right. Well, so we'll be watching together. Maybe you can come back and we can talk about the outcome of it.
I would love that.
All right. So we'll get your take on that down the road. We'll see you at the debate. Bring your popcorn.
Thanks, Paul.
Chairwoman Patterson, everybody. All right.